like to start off by thanking you for coming here, and in particular, I'm going to read off the names so I don't get it wrong here. Join me in thanking SPICE, the Seniors Committee at Temple Beth El here, for facilitating the use of the temple in this venue. Michael Norman is here. Wave, Michael. Michael is part of that senior committee, and thank you for that. I appreciate you coming and joining us with this facility and today in this event. We are going to start off the morning with a short video, and then County Manager Dina Diorio is going to get up and say a few words as a welcome.
Mecklenburg County, home to Charlotte in the towns of Davidson, Huntersville, Matthews, Mint Hill, and Pineville, is an exciting area of growth and innovation. Through the voices of more than 2,000 residents and the work of more than 50 community partners coming together over the course of a year, we have developed the Mecklenburg County Livable Communities Plan. The continued process for putting this plan into action is now a recognized, endorsed joint initiative between Mecklenburg County, the City of Charlotte, municipalities, and more than 100 private and nonprofit sector partners. The partners are now at the beginning of working collaboratively toward implementation of the unified vision and strategies centered on how we live, work, and play today and into the future. Today is an exciting day in the greater Charlotte area, home to endless opportunities for all, and a place where good people make great things happen. Today, we come together as partner work groups comprised of local government, private and nonprofit sector partners to begin the initial efforts of fostering collaborative implementation that draws on the shared strategies endorsed through the Livable Communities process. The mission at this juncture is to foster the means of plan implementation in cross-jurisdictional, cross-platform collaboration leading toward improved communication and outcomes for our collective communities. The process will foster a working platform for partners while taking care not to dictate structure, format, or specific outcome. As partners, we come together to ensure community-level development and collaboration on plan strategies using actions and measures in the plan as a guide toward reaching the shared Livable Communities vision. Through your efforts, your insights, your willingness to journey down the path of collaboration and partnership, each of our communities are now at the cutting edge of understanding and realizing our livable communities as welcoming, innovative, connected, inclusive, prepared, healthy, and resilient. Let us begin right here, right now, developing the working basis for defining new and better ways for local governments to work together and collaborate with our private and nonprofit sector community partners to better the quality of life for the entire Mecklenburg community.
Okay, so our partnership has begun then with the video. Thank you so much. I'd like to introduce you to Dina Diorio, County Manager, who will make a few remarks.
Good morning, everybody. I really want to thank all of you for being here this morning. The Mecklenburg Livable Community Plan is truly a community plan. The voices of more than 2,000 residents and over 50 organizations help shape the plan in Phase 1. And Phase 2 of this effort is to capture implementation efforts of the community towards strategies in the plan. If you participated in the development of the Mecklenburg Livable Communities Plan as an organization or a resident of our county, we really want you to know how much your input into the process and development of the plan is appreciated, and we really thank you. If you're joining this effort for the first time, thank you for agreeing to take a journey with each other as we strive to implement the vision of this plan. Your time is appreciated, and we believe that through our collaborative efforts, we will continue to make our community strong. And that is really what Mecklenburg County does well. This is one of the things that we do well collectively in this community, is collaborate and to solve our own problems. And this is just one indication of what happens when people really come together to try to make a difference for this community. You're all champions of the plan by simply being partners in this effort. Mecklenburg County will participate as being a partner, but will also be a convener and facilitator of your collaborative efforts. As we move into phase 2 of the Livable Communities Plan, more than 100 organizations have agreed to make this collaborative journey together, and we are anticipating an exciting year or two together as we move through this partnership. Today's kickoff event will set the stage for the coming year, and we look forward to helping you, our community partners, continue to convene towards successful implementation of the plan. And again, we thank you for your participation in today's kickoff event. Thank you very much.
So what we want to do is have a level set, kind of tell you where we are, where we've been, and then we'll take a little break so that you aren't just listening to me, because this is a collaborative initiative, and we do need for you to participate as we move forward. So we want to be able to hear from you. We'll spend the afternoon, not the afternoon, the second half of the morning. I don't have you all day, right? The second half of the morning, and we'll go through the process. And what is the process going to look like from now through the next year? Where is it that we're going? So that we have a clear picture before we really start to roll down our sleeves and you never hear from me again. What you hear from is each other as you're collaborating around the table, right? So today's the last time for you to sit and listen. Hope that's okay. All right, so here's where we're starting. You know, we have more than 200 plans in this community. We counted them. That's a lot of plans, but we're pretty sure it's not comprehensive, right? So we have many plans, and one of the questions that we have is, are they working together? Are they working against each other? Is there a possibility for those plans to be more effective if they were linked with other plans? What are we doing with these plans, right? So we brought together a whole group of people to help us create a framework. And the daisy wheel that's on the screen with Greater Charlotte is Home is this daisy wheel of how we might have some of those plans connect with one another, and kind of a framework to think about that in, right? We also know that this is important not just because the plans should link to one another, or that we hope what we are doing is beneficial to what other people are doing in our community to make a livable community, but it's also important to recognize that we are a growing community, and we have been a growing community. We are projected to have an additional 500,000 people in Mecklenburg County by 2050. That's a whole nother city moving here, right? So we do have some very, very good plans, but we also know that we have areas that we could improve upon, particularly if we're looking forward for that large population growth. So we asked the community, what do you think? Should we have a plan that connects all plans, yet another plan? Does that make sense? And the consensus was, yes, actually, another plan would be helpful. And so many people thought so that we had 250 members of our community, residents, say, we want to volunteer our time to help you develop that framework. That's a robust set of people in our community who are willing to spend that time and dedicate that effort. And they did that. They came together over the course of a year. They looked at those 200 plans and tried to figure out, okay, where are the synergies between those plans? Where are the opportunities for us to do better? Are there gaps in those plans? So they spent some time and they really tried to thoughtfully think through, where does Charlotte, where does Mecklenburg County, where do our towns want to fit together in the scheme of things as we have that population growth? So we looked at other municipalities and other areas across the nation, and we did some comparison of our plans against their plans as well. It was a year-long effort. We also did, of course, receive the voices of some of you as organizations and you liked it well enough to come back and talk about planning after the plan was done, so thank you for that and your voice in informing the original plan. And of course, we did hear from our elected officials as well. This is going to continue to be your effort. I am here to help you convene, to help you come together and to talk with one another and to find good solutions. We're going to continue to have lots of dialogue among each other. And what we're going to do is, just like the plan was developed, was through consensus, we are going to find points of consensus. Does that mean that this plan and your efforts in the future are going to be captured to be all-encompassing? Are we going to collect every single little thing that you are doing in your organization? No. We are going to capture those things by consensus that help us reach the strategies and the vision that are outlined in the plan. We're going to use tools like a Wordle, like this one. We're going to use a whole suite of tools that will help you figure out where the consensus items are. Where is it that we have opportunities for collaboration? Where is it that we have opportunities to sync together our initiatives and learn from each other, what we are doing and what each other around the table is doing, so that we can improve our existing initiatives? If you look at the vision statement itself in the plan, which you all have the packet of information at your table, so you have a copy of the full plan in case you haven't already done this yourself. But you'll see the vision statement talks about Greater Charlotte being a place of big city opportunities and small town feel. The small town feel component of that vision statement is important, because one of the things that the town said is we want to be sure that we are retaining our unique character. And the reason that that's important is because we have members of our community that want to do different things. They want to have a different business. They want to be able to have a different way of gaining education maybe, or a different way of transporting through the community, right? So there are many right ways. By consensus, what we reached in the plan were a vision statement around those 7 guiding principles. The 7 guiding principles are that very high-level framework. It's welcoming, trying to get at safety in the community, community character. Is this a place that those extra 500,000 people are going to want to come, want to be? Is it a place that whoever's here today is going to want to stay? Are we welcoming? A guiding principle of being innovative. This was one of the last guiding principles that we added in as a result of the feedback that we had from community members, because there were folks, as good as our work groups were and our residents were who were engaged, you know, we aren't perfect, so we need to come back and forth and have an iterative process of checking in. And they said, wait a second, you're missing economic opportunity. You're missing those things that we think are really innovative and are going to help us prepare for that extra 500,000 people. So be sure that that's a guiding principle. So that got there. We have a guiding principle of being connected. This is connected both as you might first go to, which is transportation related, right? What's our infrastructure like? Can we get from one end of Mecklenburg County to the other end of Mecklenburg County in a safe way, in an effective way? It also means, are we connected socially? How are our neighborhoods connected? Are they connected to the bigger picture? Are we being inclusive is another guiding principle. Inclusive includes those at-risk residents. It includes diversity in our communities. It also is thinking about the aging population. And what about housing, right? So we need to be inclusive in the way that we think. Prepared is that education piece. Of course we need to be prepared, but we need to be prepared with lifelong learning, right? The healthy guiding principle is looking at both physical health of you and I. If we don't have our health, then we aren't going to work. We aren't going to contribute back to our communities. Health is important. It's also health of our environment. If we don't have clean air to breathe, that affects our personal health, right? So the environmental health is important. Clean water, all those sorts of things. And then, of course, we have a resilient guiding principle. This is one that's a little fuzzier than the rest of them because resiliency means a lot of things to a lot of people. And it could be different. If you are in a safety field, resiliency is going to look different than if you're in the education field. And so resiliency, we're talking about developing leaders of the future. How is it that we're preparing our community for really leading and thinking forward? But it also includes things like land use. And are we really planning for that growth, that land development that's going to be happening into the future? So the plan is a robust plan. It has a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces. I would say that our work group members who helped us define this plan and bring it before you really did a good job of being thoughtful of each other's opinions, each other's needs, and they listened to the feedback of the folks in the community. And so that's the same stage that we are hoping to set as we get into the second phase of this plan. There is detail in the plan, and what I'll share with you is that as you open up and you look at one of those guiding principles in the plan, that there's things that we call actions. And you see underneath, we are connected in this example here, that there's a letter I in a green circle. Those are your strategies in the plan. We have 7 guiding principles, but we have 21 strategies. And underneath each one of those strategies are a suite of actions and success measures in the plan. What I will offer to you is that those actions and those success measures were suggestions by the community. That this is a good guide for us to follow. There are educated suggestions because we looked at what's going on in other communities. We looked at some of the actions that you are undertaking today, so they're informed suggestions, but they are that. They are suggestions for how it is that we can implement toward the strategies. And what I will also suggest to you is that this strategy in particular, expand capacity and increase use of sidewalks, bikeways, greenways, pathways, bus routes, and rail, that strategy is the piece of the plan that we are going to focus in on in the coming months. Because at that strategy level, that was fairly well vetted throughout the community. The action level, maybe there's some suggestions there. Maybe some of those suggestions for actions can be combined. Maybe they can be expanded on. You will see that there are actions in the plan that have a orange star behind them. It's usually the first 2 actions within each one of those strategies. Those are actions that the consultant who helped us pull this plan together said these are ready for action. Either because one of you as a participating entity said, we're doing this. This is something that not only are we doing, but it could be expanded on and really be great in our community. Or it's ready for action because as entities coming around the table, maybe you sat with a partner in the community and said, I had no idea you were doing that. Well, if we could just do that together, that would be great. And so we tried to capture that feedback as we went along developing the plan. And that's why some of those actions have a star beside them. Of course, the success measures are there in the green box. Those success measures, again, are suggestions. I will share with you that many of these success measures we are collecting data on today, and we'll be able to provide feedback on them. But some of those success measures are things that we haven't captured in this community before. So we might need to think a little bit about those together. Are those the right success measures? How is it that we're going to define reaching the vision of this plan into the future? You all are going to be the experts in the room about that. You're going to be able to tell us, yes, this success measure is clearly, if we can reach a certain goalpost there, or we can have an upward trend, we're going to be a leader nationwide because this is a success measure that's worth having. Or you might say, oh, yeah, no, that success measure, thank you very much. They tried to measure that other places in the nation, and it failed, so don't go down that path. So we're going to be having some of that dialogue with you to discover where it is that we can measure appropriately. So when you are restless at night and you can't sleep, you can pick up the plan, because there's a lot to it. I don't even know if I can tell you everything that's in the plan. There are 7 guiding principles, 21 strategies, 115 suggested actions, 64 measures. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, we have cataloged those more than 200 plans that we already have in the community. But we're done with the planning. You got it. It's on your table, right? We're done with that piece. We hope that you will take some time to look at it, see how it works together, see how it fits. How am I doing on time, Rebecca? Yeah? Good. So what we're going to talk about a little bit is transitioning into action. We don't want to continue to refine and make something perfect, which is never going to be perfect. We know that as we begin implementation, and quite frankly, we already have begun implementation, because many of you have existing initiatives that are already underway and have been underway that help us get towards the strategies in the plan. But as we implement towards the vision, things are going to change in our community. So we are going to transition into how is it that we are going to understand working together collaboratively in our community towards these strategies, and how is it that we are going to define success for the future. I'm going to start by describing for you what the end game is, because maybe it's helpful to know what is it you're going to really hope to get out of all these conversations, right? So there are going to be 3 pieces. One piece is, despite the fact that we have done a pretty good job, I think, of cataloging existing plans in our community, I'm sure that we have missed something. So 200 plans is a good start, but we are going to spend some time in the very first meeting that we're going to have following this meeting together in your groups, discovering what are those existing initiatives. And it's going to be a specific ask. We don't want to know everything you're doing, and it's going to be hard to capture that in the first place, so we aren't even going to try. What we are going to try to do is capture those existing initiatives that you and your organization are working on to get at those strategies and actions that are in the plan today. We know that there's good work going on out there. One of the things that we discovered as we were developing the plan and we had those local business roundtable discussions is that many of you weren't aware that a counterpart organization was doing something very similar to what it is that you're doing. So we're going to spend some time creating an inventory, a database that we hope will be useful for you. We'll be creating some drafts. We'll be going back and forth to make sure that we're capturing it in a way that's useful for you all. The second piece, though, that we're going to do is around this collaboration. One of the things that we heard very loud and clear in our year-long development of the plan is that we're doing some good things, but we might be able to stretch outside the traditional box or the traditional silo that we're in and collaborate better with one another to either expand an existing initiative, to enhance an existing initiative, or maybe there's something that we could be doing that we aren't, that maybe we need to start doing collaboratively together. So there's going to be that existing inventory piece. We're going to do that. We're going to do a collaboration piece, and I'm going to discuss a little bit more, describe what that's going to look like. And then at the end of all that, we're going to go back and we're going to compare against the plan. We're going to compare against those strategies and actions and those success measures. We're going to see if we've defined success in a way that we can say we were successful in doing something towards meeting that vision that the community set out. We're going to do that for a year. We're going to regroup. We're going to see how it went. We're going to tweak where there needs to be a tweak. Then we're going to do it again. And then, eventually, we'll go back out to the community and we'll revisit this plan. The Livable Communities Plan is intended to be this long-term frame for us to double-check ourselves every now and then. We're going to check in. We're going to see, are we really planning for the future? And are we successfully acting as though we're ready for that vision, that long-term vision of the plan? So that's the end in mind. Now, how are we going to get there? Partnership is important. There's going to be a couple of ways for you to partner as an organization. One is because you're involved with an existing initiative. We want to be sure that you come, that you share that information with us in that first meeting. There might be some electronic means for you to communicate with us, your existing initiatives, but we want to capture that so that the community knows what's going on. The other way to partner would be around this collaboration. So it might be that you haven't started anything quite yet in your organization, and can't find that existing initiative that really links in directly, but you're willing to be a collaborative partner, and you want to partner with 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 other organizations to do this great thing, so you're going to be a collaborative partner. And of course, you could be a partner by having both an existing initiative and by collaborating, right? So there's 3 different ways to partner. And as you accepted the invitation to be here today, I sent out a survey for you, and you indicated where it was that your organization might align to the existing strategies in the plan. As a result of that survey response, we tried to look at that and see how it is that we can make the best use of your time. Your organization might have aligned to a strategy under healthy and a strategy under innovative. Your organization might have been right there along with other organizations that similarly were aligned. So we reorganized a little bit into the think tanks that are in your folder on your table and that I had forwarded to you a couple of weeks ago just prior to this meeting. The way those think tanks are described is based off of the strategies that they align to. So we did this not trying to be confusing, although it might be a little bit. We did this really so that we could begin to organize the discussions, because if we want to have some collaborative discussions and we try to have all of you in the room at the same time, we're going to have a hard time making progress. So we were looking for a little bit of smaller groups and groups that we could look at those strategies and kind of dig into the meat of what is in that particular strategy or group of strategies. And there are many strategies in the plan that align with one another. The other thing that you will have in your packet at your table is a stapled grouping that says think tanks something on the top. And it has what to do with this packet, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Before you leave today, please look at those think tank groupings. See if you find your organization's name in the think tank that you believe you should be aligned with. What meeting do you want to attend? What meetings can you attend? Maybe you end up picking and choosing because you can't go to 5 different meetings. You can strike out your organization's name on the list if you think I'm already on 4 and I don't need to be on this one. Or you can add your name, and I will share with you that if you don't see your organization's name on any one of the think tank lists, it might be because I didn't get a response on that original survey. It might be because you're coming to the table just now, and it's kind of going to be a progressive thing. Maybe this is the first time that you've been exposed to this. That's okay. If you add your organization under a think tank, please leave me a good email contact on that page and rip that page off and leave it on the table. I want to be able to get a hold of you. I want to be able to share the information with you. And so this is my way to do that. Please take some time to be sure that we're in the right spot. And if you aren't sure and you want to come to all the meetings, great. You're more ambitious than I am. No. Okay. So that's what the story is with these think tanks. And we're trying to be mindful of your time and your effort. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through the process with you. Again, pay attention. If this process doesn't make sense to you, we're going to have an exercise where you can tell me. Okay? We started with the plan. You have 21 strategies in the plan. We've separated you out into these 11 think tanks. Okay, so that's where this process is starting. I told you that there are 3 different outcomes that we're searching for. So, beginning next month, we are starting these think tank collaborative discussions. And in that first one, we're going to try to capture those existing initiatives. So we're going to have kind of a level setting. Where is it that we're all starting from? What is it that we're doing today? Make sure that we are as informed as possible before we get into those collaborative discussions. Okay? And then we're going to leave that list of existing initiatives on the side. And we're going to turn to a discussion around where are there opportunities for us to collaborate. I heard from Jim Gardis at Park and Rec, and he's got this really cool initiative going on that I want my organization to be part of. And I want to figure out how, if we collaborate with that, what can we achieve? How are we going to define success of working together on that collaborative piece to reaching the end goals in the plan? And you're going to have that discussion. And it might be that you come up with more than one collaborative idea. I'm fully anticipating that, which is great, right? But we're going to ask you to prioritize your collaborative ideas into something that we can focus on for this first year and really get down into the nitty-gritty. What do we mean by this new collaboration? Who are the partners who are really going to assist with the collaboration? How would you describe it to the folks who are going to provide the resources to make that collaboration successful? What are the resources that we need to have to make the collaboration successful? What kind of timeline would we think about? We're going to walk through those items with you. We'll facilitate that discussion. We'll continue to provide information. If we have to do a little research, maybe we'll do a little research and bring it back to you. It will be your discussion because you've decided around the table by consensus that these are the items in which we can collaborate, and this is how we're going to move forward. So we're going to spend some time doing that. It's going to take us a couple meetings to get there because there's going to be lots of good ideas that you're going to bring, I'm sure. Then we will get into the reporting phase, right? We'll be sure that we've identified how we define success. We'll try to bring the data to you as well as we're able so that we can understand that moving into the future, and we'll report out. And then we'll regroup and we'll say, okay, so how did that work? Did that feel good? If it felt good and you had a long list of priorities, maybe we go back to that list of priorities and we say, okay, what was number 2 on the list? Let's go. It might be that, oh, that didn't quite fit right, that didn't quite feel right. Let's start back at wait a minute, where are the opportunities? Maybe we need to make a new list. Maybe there are partners who join us during the discussion that inform the discussion, and we can regroup and step back and make sure that we're being as inclusive and effective as possible. So there's all kinds of opportunities. It's possible that one think tank will get out ahead of the other think tanks. It's possible that one will lag a little bit behind. It's possible that two think tanks might be going down the same path and we join you together. There's lots of possibilities. But what we're going to do is convene in such a way that is the most effective use of your time, which requires you to be an active participant. It requires you to give feedback to us so that we can help you in that endeavor. On that think tank list that's the pullout in your sheet, you will see that there is a date underneath each one of those think tanks. That's your placeholder for the first of the many meetings. We are anticipating that we will have 2 to 3, maybe 4 meetings per think tank over the course of the coming year. So we aren't going to ask you to come monthly. Yay, I didn't get any cheers for that. We aren't going to be asking you to come monthly, but we are going to be asking you to come every other month maybe, depending on how your think tank is developed and who's in consensus there, to meet. So that date is your first placeholder. If you're not on the list, you want to be on the list, you need to write on the list for the think tank in your packet, leave it on the table, right? So that I can make sure that you're on the mailing list. And those invitations will be coming out this next week, so you know where and when. We talked a little bit about those existing inventory initiatives. What is it you're doing today? Again, we're going to be talking about that at the first meeting, but there are going to be other ways for you to provide that information to us. So if we send you a survey and you haven't attended a meeting and you're going to be an active participant, you have to respond to the survey. Or you have to send me an email or something. You have to communicate with me so that we can get this right. We are going to be asking you to collaborate, which means that there's going to be ground rules during these convening meetings. And although my kids will tell you that I have lots of rules, I'm not going to give those to you. Rebecca's going to help you with that. We're going to tag team you a little bit here. There are tools for you to start preparing for these first meetings. In addition to the success measures and the information that's in the plan, we have a very robust quality of life study dashboard. It is linked on the LivableMeck.com website under the plans. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you to do that. It is a suite of indicators that we have in the community. We also have a community pulse report, which is, again, a lot of data, whatever. Those are 2 free pieces of information you can go look to today. Community Pulse Report, also linked on the plan. So go to the website. If you have trouble navigating the website, what I'll just share with you is you can go across LivableMeck.com. Across the very top, there's drop-down menus. There's a list of plans. They're alphabetical. They're linked to each strategy. There's a list of partners. You can see if you are on there as a partner, if we link to your correct website or not. Help us get that right. There are going to be other ways for you to find information about what's going on in the community, and we're going to be sharing those in those collaborative discussions. What I will share with you, and I hope that you are prepared for and excited about, is the discussion that's going to be going on during these collaboration think tanks. Because there's going to be some back and forth. You might come up with a list of potential collaboration opportunities that when you start to identify this is how we're going to measure success, or this is what we mean by we did it, or we're working toward it, that was the right direction, we just need a little more, or wait a second, that took us, we did a lot of work and it didn't have any impact. right? So there's going to be some back and forth, and we're going to try to understand together what the collaborative efforts, the existing efforts, and how we're defining success are going to work together in the process. So if we try it on just for a second, I want you to imagine you're part of the redevelopment think tank. The redevelopment think tank on your sheet is linked with strategy G and strategy K. So when you come to that first meeting, you're going to come prepared in your mind with, well, I'm doing, or my organization is doing these things already underneath strategy G. And somebody else is going to come to the table and they're going to say, well, I'm already doing all these existing things for strategy K. And you're going to share those in that meeting, and you're going to generate some discussion around, wow, I didn't know you were doing that. You know, we could tag on to that, or our program kind of touches that, but I want to know more about what that is. What if it's just a project that's just happening in Charlotte and it's not existing in Mint Hill or in Davidson? What happened there? You know, one of the things that I hear came out of your collaborative discussions, or what are the barriers to collaboration, a question in the room was, where's the town of Cornelius? Right? Did you guys have that discussion? So there are challenges to collaboration. The town of Cornelius, despite the fact that all the other jurisdictions within Mecklenburg County endorsed this process going forward, the town of Cornelius decided that it wasn't a good fit for them right now. So, you know, that's okay. We can continue to work towards what it is that the community has outlined for us in this plan. And that might be what happens as we try on what happens in this first meeting. You might sit around the table and say, my organization is doing these existing things, but where this collaboration discussion is going doesn't really fit my organization's mission. So we're a partner because we're doing these existing things, but we just aren't going to be a partner in that list of collaboration opportunities. So there's going to be some back and forth, and we're going to need to identify who in the community is it going to be that's going to help us with those collaborative opportunities, right? So we aren't going to try to be everything to everybody. We are going to look for consensus, and we are going to look for those opportunities where we can do more and better around what it is that we're doing today. It's up to you guys to lead the effort, and because we are here and are the conveners for you, we need your expertise. I am no expert when it comes to healthcare. It's not my area of expertise. But when we get into the think tank that is dealing with health issues, maybe you and your organization are the right people who are the experts in that topic area. So we're going to be asking you for 2 co-leads within each think tank. If you think your organization is one of those that can help assist us with being sure the agenda is set right, being sure that we have the right partners at the table, being sure that the way in which we are describing and collaborating around the table is not maybe duplicative of what another group is doing in the community, because you're already honed in with, there's already another whole community effort that's going on around this particular effort, and because you're the expert, you know that. So if you are interested in being one of those co-lead agencies for one of those think tanks, you need to drop me an email. Or you can write it on one of these pieces of paper that you're going to leave here today and help me identify those, and we'll be reaching out to you to have you help us in this first effort. Okay, so the calendar events, I shared that with you on your think tank list that's at your table. There's a date, that's the first of the meetings. We will have these first meetings in May and June. We're going to take a break for the summer. We know that people go on vacation, you've already got your plans made, there's a lot of things that are going on. Maybe your kids are at home and you got to, handle that. So we're going to take the break over the summer, and then we're going to reconvene with these think tanks with a synopsis of what you're telling us in this first meeting to really help you jumpstart that first collaborative discussion. In September through November, we'll take that holiday month of December off, and then we'll wrap up our first convening think tank meetings by the end of February, hopefully, so that we can look at that reporting and be able to communicate back and forth with you. Of course, we are going to be convening outside of the meeting, or communicating outside of the meetings, right? There's only just a few meetings that maybe you might attend, but you might want to know what's going on with the other think tanks, what's going on at a meeting that I missed, maybe. So in addition to the social media, which is great, we also have in the works on our website the ability to have newsletters posted. The meeting information from today will be posted. The outcomes of individual think tanks will be posted, and we have mailing lists. So again, please be sure, if you're here today because your boss told you to come, and you never received an email from me, then I don't have your email. So if you should be on the mailing list, I need your contact information. Please be sure to leave it. And I won't try to flood you with emails, but I'll try to keep you up to date and to help you keep current. That's the process. That's what we hope we've outlined something for you that you can participate in, knowing that you're busy, that you can participate in knowing that we'll help facilitate your discussions and capture the information and provide resources to you as best as we're able. We talked about how you or your organization could help us co-lead one of these think tanks, so I hope you're thinking about that. We talked about starting with what is it that we're doing right now and making sure that our 200 plan list is as robust as it can be so that you can proceed with as much knowledge as possible moving forward. So we need you to help us with that existing inventory list. Thank you so much for being here, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.